hello, hello. Hey out there. How's everybody doing? Are you doing great? I am fantastic. When I say fantastic, absolutely. And I hope you are enjoying this journey to the psychology of success. I hope you are learning some stuff and that you are having a great time and you feeling like, Dr. G, you teaching me. Because that's what I'm here to do. I am called to do this. I am living my purpose. I'm living what God has designed me to do. And I absolutely love it. It's nothing like living your passion. Anyway, I had to put all of that in there. We'll talk about that and finding your purpose and your calling and why are you born and all of that on another one. But guess what we're talking about today? Something that merits definite conversation. You know what? You are stressing me out. How many times have you heard that? Look, have your parents told you, you are stressing me out? Think about it. Think about, some of you, you're there now. Your parents are still telling you that. Fortunately, I'm old enough that my mother don't tell me that anymore. And I'm actually an asset to her in everything that I do. So it's wonderful. But you are stressing me out. Oh my goodness. How many times do we think that? Do we say that? Every day as we move through life, we are talking about stress. That big S word. That's right. Stress. Now, let me tell you, this stress is killing you. It is literally killing you. Now, I've told you before, 75 to 90% of all your sickness and disease starts with emotions. We've talked about emotions and stress. What that tells you, 75 to 90%, that you can actually control your physical health and you don't have to have a disease or be sick. Now, yeah, there's some things that are passed on through genes. But besides that, all of this disease, a lot of it can be controlled and managed by you. Do you want to be healthy? Do you want to be sick? Well, you know what? You have to learn how to manage and control your stress. So, of course, the definition of stress, a physical or chemical or emotional factor that causes bodily or mental tension, something that's causing you tension and may be a factor for the cause of your disease. Well, I just told you, the stats prove that it is. Another definition says it's a state of worry. And we'll need to do one just on this worry because you're talking about something blocking your success. Oh my goodness gracious. But it's a state of worry and it causes tension mentally and physically. So now when we look at this big stress and we think that we can control where we are, that's power, people. I'm giving you power right now that you can control your physical health. Okay, when we start looking at the stress, that things that bring you stress, jobs, careers, businesses, or the lack thereof. Some people are stressed because they don't have a job, money, health, relationships, family, kids, healthcare, a social media overload, poor nutrition, lack of nutrition, lack of food, kids. Oh, I already said that. Oh, maybe because I have 4. I think I told you that before. I have 4 kids. You want to talk about some stress, people? Do you want me to talk about some stress? Whew. Okay. I'm not going to make this about me, but I do know a little something about stress. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of things in this world that are causing stress. I just talked about in another episode, I talked all about fear. Fear causes you stress. What other people think, all of the stuff, we just see stuff around us, all the negative energy. And I told you before that our brain has negativity bias. And so we tend to focus on the negative stuff, and all of that is fear, and it's causing us stress. Oh my God. Okay. So we look at the stress. And let me just give you some stats that research said about 75% of adults report symptoms of stress that include headaches, lack of sleep, tiredness, overeating, not eating. 80% of U.S. workers say they experience stress on the job. What are we doing out here on these jobs? Is it too much pressure that we're asking people to do? Is too much going on? The people that you work with, 80% of the people have stress at work. So that means only 20% of the people are really going to work stress-free. And then nearly half of the adults say that stress has negatively affected their behavior. Really? We don't see the manifestations of negative behavior? It's caused by stress. And all the things that we take in, it has been linked to the leading causes of death: heart disease, cancers, accidents, suicide. Stress is all linked to this. You mean there is some link to stress in these diseases? Absolutely. And while I'm not going to get into the depths of how stress affects and causes these particular diseases, but can't you see how important this is? Oh my goodness. I'm going to need everybody listening to me to understand how to manage the stress. Okay, Dr. G, can we get to that? Because this stress, it is killing me. And I want to be healthy. I want to be successful. You can't be successful, stress and success. Now, there is a good stress that does happen, and I'll just touch on that a little bit. Stress can be good because you need to feel some sort of stress and anxiety when you go into a job interview. You need to put your best foot forward when you're getting ready to get on stage. When I'm getting ready to get on stage and talk, I've been speaking for 30 something years. So generally, when I first got started, that stress of like, oh, I got to do a good job. All of that is really good. I have to go on stage and make sure I blow everybody away and give them this information. Some stress is good. So I don't want you to think that all stress is bad, but we're talking about the bad stress that's putting people in the hospital, that's causing diseases, that making people have to eat so many pills and medicine, and causing people to drink, causing people to smoke, all of those things, trying to relieve stress. Now, let me tell you some really good ways that you can start managing your stress. So you don't have to say to somebody stressing you out. Number one, and this is the first thing I tell people. This is the first thing I start saying. Do not stress over things you cannot control. Do not stress over things you can't control. Now, I'm writing this down because I want you to write this in your brain. Do not stress over things you can't control. That's big. I want you to sit there with that for a moment. Think about all of the things in your life that you cannot control. You cannot control what's happening in the world. You cannot control politics. You cannot control all of the things that people are arguing about, that we're divided about in this world. You cannot control other people. You cannot control what's happening on your job. You cannot control traffic. You cannot control how your friends are living their lives. You cannot control how your kids are living their lives. Woo. Okay. Can you see that's some kind of trigger there? We'll talk about that because they're probably listening. Okay, my kids out there, You already know there's a level of stress that I've learned how to manage, but you can't control that. And you know what we do? We spend time talking about, thinking about, worrying about things that we cannot control. I just want you to get, if you just get this one, stop stressing over things you can't control. So you know what? You have to stop thinking about it. You really have to stop thinking about it, because we talked about thoughts and what thoughts do when thoughts get into your brain and into your head, into your mind. You can't stress. So anytime you start feeling this feeling and anxiety and all the stuff that this brings about, I want you to stop and say, is this something that I can control? If you can't, say, okay, thoughts, I'm not thinking about this anymore. I'm shifting from this conversation. I'm shifting my thoughts away from this. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't care about people, but you wasting your time and spending your time worrying and your stomach is upset and you have a headache because of what everybody else is doing, you can't control it. So I'm telling you, you have to stop stressing and worrying over things you can't control. The other thing I want you to do is, when you stop doing that, I want you to focus on what you can control. Now, all of this energy that you had over here concerning things that you can't do anything about, I want you to focus that energy on what you can control. So whatever you have going on in your life that you can't control, what is that? That's you. That's how you spend your money. That's how much money you make. Yes, you can control that. We'll talk about that as well. The things, what you eat, your exercising, your health, those kind of things, your relationships. You can control that. The people that you have in your life, the people that you allow in your life. Focus on that. Focus on yourself and making yourself the best of what you can become. And then number 3, I want you to focus on what you have and not what you don't. Take that in. Take that in. Focus on what you already have and not what you don't. Because our brains have the negativity bias and we tend to focus on the negative things, we forget the things around us that we do have. I can remember this became so important to me during the time in my life after my divorce, and things were I was struggling financially, and I was in that space and 4 kids and trying to continue to make things move forward. And I had to stop myself and know what I'm teaching other people, that I have to take that in. So instead of focusing on the fact that my car was 17 years old and I didn't have a new car and other people had a new car, and the fact of, that my couch was old and all these things, I had to focus on the fact that I had a roof over my head. I had to focus on the fact that I did have a car. Now, it didn't look like Joe and Jean's car. It didn't look like their car, because maybe they were able to get a new car. But focus on what I did have, so that way I could be thankful and grateful. Otherwise, if you don't, you're always focusing on what you're trying to get. Do you know how much stress that's going to cause you? You already know, because you're stressed out right now. You're stressed out, as well as allowing other people to stress you out. And when we compare ourselves to other people, that's really dangerous. Don't compare yourself to anybody. Your journey is your journey. If you are, it's going to always be that somebody seems like they're doing better than you. Somebody always is doing better than you. I guarantee it. It doesn't matter. Even the richest people on the Forbes list, you know what? Somebody's doing better than somebody else. Now, we could probably beg to differ that whoever is at the top, and I'm not sure who's at the top of that list right now, because guess what? I haven't been focused on that. but focusing on you, where you are, things that you can control, the things that you have that are working for you in your life. Keep your energy there. That's going to diminish and decrease your stress levels. Now, we can talk about cortisones. We can really get deep into this and what this is doing to your brain. But this stress is blocking your success. And I am here to help you unblock that success and get that life so it is stress-free. So I'm going to recap again. I said, focus on what you don't focus on what you can't control. That means get rid of all the things in your life and in your mind that you can't control. Focus only what you can control. Put all of your energy there. And then focus on what you have and not what you don't have. Because your energy and what you put toward is going to come back to you. So I hope this helps you to get to the place where you're not letting anybody stress you out and you're not stressing your own self out. So work on these things. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Always go to my website. I have plenty of resources, drgladney.com, that will help you on this journey of success and to keep yourself from being stressed out. Until the next time you go and you relax, relate, release. I want you to practice some breathing. Relax, relate, release. Release that stress. Until the next time, have a stress-free day. This is Dr. G.